Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first Southeast Asian Youth Forum on Food and Nutrition with the theme Healthy Plates, Healthy Futures, Youth Leading the Way in Sustainable Eating. I am Anne from UP Los Baños, and I will be your host for today. So, just some information, this event is organized by the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization, Regional Center for Food and Nutrition, or SUMEO-RECFON, co-organized by the ASEAN Youth Forum and the Institute of Human Nutrition and Food, UP Los Baños. Today marks a significant milestone after a thorough process of screening, shortlisting, and mentoring our youth speakers. You've all worked hard to get here, and being part of this forum is already a huge achievement. So, congratulations in advance to each and every one of you. Before we officially start our program this morning, let us watch the Simeo Colors video. And just to give a recap of the events of the past few weeks, all that has happened in the past few months, let us welcome or let us also watch this recap video. Thank you very much for that insightful recap. It's truly a remarkable journey, no, to see how much has happened over the past few weeks. And of course, the enthusiasm our youth have shown in tackling important issues. So before we begin, let me share with you a few reminders. Please ensure that your computer, laptop, or mobile devices are connected to the internet. And if you can, please turn on your cameras using the background provided by the organizer and rename your account with the format institution underscore your name. Also, please do not activate the microphone or use the annotation feature during the session, except in the open forum session. And to receive your certificates, please make sure to fill out the attendance and evaluation forms. The link will be sent through the Zoom chat box later. And lastly, participants who wish to ask questions may do so during the open forum session following the procedures that will be explained later by our moderator. And to give a brief overview of today's events, we will begin with the opening remarks from Dr. Herco Tanto, the director of the CIMEO-REC Fund, and then following that, Dr. Nathan Moore from Michigan State University will present us a keynote address focusing on the role of youth in these important initiatives. And then after a photo session, our moderator, Dr. Dana, will introduce the youth teams, leading into presentations from 5 teams of selected youth speakers. We'll then have an interactive open forum where you can ask, our audiences can ask questions and engage in discussion. And then after a wrap up, we will award the certificates of appreciation to the speakers, followed by another photo session. And the program will conclude with brief messages from our representatives and closing remarks from Dr. Jess Fernandez, the Deputy Director of CIMEO-REC Fund. All right, so now that we are all excited, I know that we are excited, and to formally open our program, it is an honor to present to you the Director of CIMEO-REC Fund, Dr. Herco Tanto, to deliver his welcome remarks. Together, let us warmly welcome Dr. Herco Tanto.
To our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Nathan Moore from Michigan State University, distinguished selected 5 teams of youth speakers, 3 from Indonesia, 1 from Laos, and 1 from Malaysia, our partners, colleagues, and youth forum participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and welcome to the first Southeast Asian Youth Forum on Food and Nutrition. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this important event that our center has initiated as part of our commitment to involve multi-sectors, including the youth, in matters related to food and nutrition improvement in Southeast Asia. I would like to extend our heartfelt congratulations to the 5 outstanding youth speaker teams selected from 89 applicants from 7 countries in our region. Thank you for committing yourself to the goal of this forum and becoming the first batch of speakers. It is important to emphasize that this forum is not a competition. Rather, it is a venue for all of us to exchange ideas, expand perspectives, and explore new knowledge that can spark positive change in our communities towards co-creating solutions to address the challenges related to food, health, and nutrition, as well as the environment that affects us all. At CIMEO-REC Fund, we have always believed in the power of young people. Through our flagship program on Nutrition Goes to School, as well as our youth creation competitions, we have witnessed firsthand how youth can bring fresh and impactful perspective. CIMEO-REC Fund aims to harness the creative ideas of a broader segment of youth population, currently not covered by the NGTS program. We believe there should be a space where youth can share their insight and ideas on addressing the food and malnutrition challenges that their generation faces. It is for this reason that our center initiated the Southeast Asian Youth Forum on Food and Nutrition as approved by our governing board last year. Our region is rich in biodiversity, cultural heritage, and is home to innovative youth like you who can lead the transformation in how we produce, consume, and perceive food. In line with the outcomes of the 2021 World Food Forum, and considering that the youth comprises a large segment of our region's populations, having variety food eating habits that affects the sustainability of our food systems, we thought of having healthy plates, healthy futures, youth leading the way in sustainable eating as the theme for the initial staging of our forum. We are certainly excited to hear inspiring stories and ideas from our selected youth speakers on this theme this morning. We are grateful to have Dr. Nathan Moore from Michigan State University to be our keynote speaker for our forum, who will give us a better understanding on ensuring a sustainable food system where the youth matters most. We appreciate the willingness of Dr. Moore to be with us despite the time difference between Michigan and Jakarta. I believe it's already around 9 p.m. there. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the Institute of Human Nutrition and Food of the University of Philippines, Los Banos, and ASEAN Youth Forum Secretariat, our co-organizers, for your contributions over time in making this forum possible this year. I encourage all our youth speakers as well as the audience to critically reflect on the insights that you will get from Dr. Moore's presentation and how you can apply them in your efforts to help build sustainable food systems as well as advocate sustainable consumption in your respective communities. I am confident that today's session will inspire new perspectives and strengthen your resolve to make a meaningful impact. The future of sustainable food systems lies in your hand, and I eagerly look forward to seeing the contributions you will make in the near future. Thank you, and I wish you all a fruitful forum discussion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Katanto for that warm welcome and emphasizing that this is not a competition but rather a venue for us to exchange ideas. All right, are we all excited? Can you share with us what you are feeling right now by sending emojis? Are you excited too, the same as us? Thank you very much. So now, everyone, it's time for a very important portion of our program. It's now time for our keynote presentation. And we're honored to have Dr. Nathan Moore from Michigan State University with us today. Dr. Moore is a renowned expert in climate change and its effects on health and agriculture. Currently, Dr. Moore is an associate professor in the Geography Department of Michigan State University with a joint appointment at the Center for Global Change and Earth Observations. Dr. Moore's research activities focus on understanding land change processes and their impacts on climate and crops. His work has focused on how cropland expansion in the tropics can drive changes in rainfall and weather and how they can impact crop yields in marginal lands. He is also working in the Amazon on developing a climate-friendly bioeconomy. His work has been funded by NSF, NASA, EPA, and USAID. In today's talk, Dr. Moore will present us the sustainable food systems and food consumption where the youth matters most. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Dr. Nathan Moore. Let's give him a virtual round of applause.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to give a presentation here. I'm going to share my screen and I hope it will work for everyone. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, Dr. Moore.
Great, thank you. Well, I'd like to talk to you about sustainable food systems and food consumption, particularly where youth matters most. And I'd like to give you a framework of basically three pieces to look at where the food system currently is and some leverage points where youth can make an impact. The first I'd like to talk about is the malnutrition paradox, the so-called triple burden of undernutrition, rising obesity rates, and micronutrient deficiencies. That's the first problem, and that disproportionately affects our youth. The second piece is food security challenges. We have rising food prices, especially this year, and inconsistent food prices from year to year. This makes planning for food more difficult, especially for poorer populations. In addition, in much of Southeast Asia, there's not a good connection from rural producers to markets in a way that is efficient and meaningful for both the buyer and the farmer. And that needs to be addressed. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, are the changing eating patterns that we've seen. There's been a pronounced shift from traditional to Western diets. With that comes an increased consumption of processed foods, particularly higher intake of sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats. That's combined with a loss of traditional food knowledge and traditional cooking skills, that people get too busy, they're working on their project, they don't have time to cook for themselves, and they just get street food or something that's pre-processed and not as healthy. And on top of that is a heavy influence of food marketing on youth. Advertising has become much more effective at manipulating the parts of our brains that give us rewards and incentives on what to eat. So the first element is the triple burden. In East Asia and the Pacific, we have three main pieces. Undernutrition is the first, and that is overwhelmingly a problem in poorer communities. That also gets amplified by poor sanitation and by lack of access of food for mothers. That, combined with micronutrient deficiencies, are leading us to have something like 46% of children under 5 having a deficiency in micronutrients. And almost counterintuitively, with undernutrition and micronutrient deficiencies, we also have increasing problems with overweight children and obesity. And you think, how can this be? And it has to do with the changes in the diet that I will get to in a moment. But the three of these combined make a very difficult problem to solve, both at the individual level and at the household level. In terms of micronutrients, we see two concerning situations. The first figure on the top shows that we have low birth weights at high rates across Southeast Asia, and there are several countries shown here. But 12% of low birth weight children leads to problems down the road, that these problems, if they're not addressed very quickly, can impact a life through stunting and wasting. In the lower area, in this table here, you can see data by country for a variety of micronutrient deficiencies: anemia, iron deficiency, vitamin A, vitamin D, and zinc. Some of the values don't have data, but let's look at some of the percentages. 10% iron deficiency, 55% anemia, 21 to 37% deficiency in vitamin D. These are significant problems for youth. And if they are not addressed early in life, they can lead to repercussions that are significant down the road. Moving on to the next piece is food insecurity. The FAO food price here on the left, you can see that the cycle goes from January across to December. So these are annual cycles. You can see with Russia's invasion of Ukraine that there was a large spike in 2022, but it recovered fairly quickly. What concerns me most are these increases like we see in 2021 and 2024, where there are gradual increases largely due to global economic factors like inflation. And those are very hard for poor households to cope with. So with prices going up, we also have individual commodities changing their value. While you can see that sugar has declined significantly from 2023 to 2024, you can see that vegetable oils, dairy, and meat, major sources of protein, are showing increases and may put some of those major sources of protein out of reach for our poorer communities. Not only is that getting out of reach for poor communities, those communities already spend a disproportionate amount of their wealth on food. This graph shows the percent of GDP for food, with the world average here. Rich countries are basically to the left and poor countries to the right. So about 10% of the world, 10% of the world's GDP is spent on food, but some countries you can see have to spend more and more of their wealth on food, leaving them much more sensitive to high food prices. So food insecurity has a disproportionate effect in Southeast Asia. And these are processes that the youth of today really don't have direct ability to control. Rather, it's an inheritance that they receive that they have to operate under with lower levels of nutrition and higher costs. But perhaps the most influential piece of sustainable eating comes from the eating patterns. We're changing our eating patterns to be more westernized. I think everyone has seen the explosion of KFC throughout the world, and Southeast Asia is no different. Why does it come here, and what effects does it have? Well, to answer that, we can look at what happened in the United States. This is a photo from around the time that I was born. I'm really old. And you can see that there are not many overweight or obese people in the US. However, if you were to walk around Michigan today, you would see some pretty significant obesity problems. What happened? Something went really wrong. This map shows obesity trends in the US, 1990, 1991, 1992, and you can see the percentages here. States that are 15% obese. Oh, we need a new category, 20%. Here, the year 2000, oh, we need a new category. Year 2004, 2005, oh, we need a new category. 30% of the people in these states is overweight. It's spreading like a virus might spread. It's diffusing across the United States. You can see that there are spatial structures, and you can see that it is consistently increasing. No state is getting thinner. All the states are getting fatter. Did everyone just change their way of behavior? I don't think that makes much sense. It's an overly simple answer. So if we look at the most recent data I had, you can see that much of the country is in that 40% category. It has become massively worse through my lifetime. And that suggests that it's not just one thing, since it's not isolated to one state or one particular region. It must be some sort of confluence of factors. Unless you think it's just the United States, well, this map should show you that pretty much the rest of the world is also showing increases in obesity. Here we are, 1988, 1999, 1990. You can see there the US is popping into the 20% category. The only places that are not seeing this shift towards obesity are places where there's a vastly different food system. Even China here shows up in yellow. So there must be something systemic then in places that are not showing those changes. Well, I thought it was sugar, right? Don't we think it was sugar? Well, this graph shows how obesity prevalence has increased over time. And yet sugar intake peaked sometime around 1997, 1998, and then declined. So sugar is not the end of the story. It's not simply eating too many candy bars and too much soft drinks. A good piece of work by Norman Temple called The Origins of the Obesity Epidemic in the USA said he looked at dietary fat, and he said it's not dietary fat. In fact, that declined. What he saw was there was sugar and sodas and oils for frying food. All of these are the ultra-processed foods. And he points the finger at ultra-processed foods being the #1 cause. And what happens is it happens to kids. We get kids eating unhealthy foods early, and not just as a birthday treat. It becomes something we do once a week. And he saw that was developing unhealthy dietary habits for those youngsters. It's not as simple as just the foods we eat, though. The US government, through the Farm Bill, actually funds overproduction of grains, largely out of fear that we'll go back to the Depression in the 1930s. But that over purchasing of cheap grains amplifies and makes it more likely to have cheap foods available. There's a little bit of research using Danish data that says the obesity epidemic may even go back to the 1940s. That the availability of cheap grains and oils and changing attitudes towards food as something that we sit down and do communally rather than as fuel for you to do your work, that change in thinking about what food is for may have combined with the addition of antibiotics. But this author argues that we don't really know yet why obesity took off the way it did. He again thinks that there are a confluence of various factors that have caused systemic change. So why do we stop eating the healthy stuff? And why do we lean into processed foods so much? Well, it must be something that's universally enticing enough to make us change habits over time. This system change has actually already taken place, as you saw in the global map, that many of the countries already have very high amount of kilograms of processed and ultra-processed foods, or liters of soda, I guess. You can see Australia and New Zealand here from 2000 to 2017. They actually peaked at very high levels and are now declining out of health concerns. But many countries like Malaysia, China, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, they have really low levels and they're at early stages for where Australia and New Zealand were maybe 30 years ago. So it's coming. On top of that, we have found that we can create better and more effective ads. We can influence people very strongly by using the dopamine reward system in congruence with ads to get people to eat more food. And with our shift in attitudes as seeing food as a fuel to do our work, rather than that food as a way to connect to our family and to nature, that's a big change. And through what you'll see the rest of my talk here is I want to encourage everyone to think in terms of connecting to people, not to products. Connecting is the key. Marion Nestle at New York University actually says we should try to measure the right things. She says we regulate ingredients, but we don't regulate food. She says the problem with nutrient by nutrient nutrition science is that it takes the nutrient out of the context of the food out of the context of the diet, and the diet out of the context of the lifestyle. So she says we're measuring the wrong thing if we want to understand why we're getting fatter and less healthy in the United States. Because we are kind of like this indicator of what's happening to the rest of the world. Maybe we're addicted. Are we addicted to food? Maybe not. Are we addicted to the internet? Maybe that's closer to the point. How many of you have been on your laptop or your phone and said, oh, I just need a few more minutes. I just need a few more minutes. Maybe it's this addiction that is at the heart of the problem, that we are not connected to traditional and natural ways of eating, and we're looking for something else. So I would like to offer you a suggestion that we think of the problem of obesity and malnutrition and food insecurity as all side effects. These are all symptoms of the technosphere. And by the technosphere, I mean the entire planetary surface modified by humanity. You know, we talk about the atmosphere, we talk about the hydrosphere, we talk about the biosphere. The biosphere gets energy from sunlight. In fact, it's limited by sunlight, isn't it? Because the trees can't grow during the night. Well, we're also creating a human surface that rewards us humans. If we do our work, we get delicious food and exciting entertainment. We get those dopamine centers activated in our brains. And it acts almost like a separate organism, trying to get us to do more of its bidding. So we have created this technosphere, and the technosphere wants us to do its work, but it doesn't want to have to feed us very well. It wants to feed us with as little energy as possible to do what it wants using cheap carbs. So that's why we see the potatoes, the potato chips, and the processed foods. It all comes back to mimetic desire. I see that person, oh, that person has something I want. I want that thing too. And so that our desire to mimic what other people have, that fuels how the technosphere works. So the technosphere is actually pushing us, especially us older people, to consume and consume more. I think we need a new system. The technosphere is not dominant everywhere yet. I saw a piece of work from Dia Setyawati saying that processed and ultra-processed foods still have a lower contribution to energy and nutrient intake in Jakarta than non-processed foods and processed ingredients. So that gives me some hope that processed foods have not taken over yet. I even saw that this summer, the government of Indonesia defined limits on the maximum content level of sugar, salt, and fat. But I would remind you that Marion Nestle says regulating nutrients doesn't address the problem of the different lifestyles. It doesn't represent the different system. And so the technosphere is continuing to grow. We need to connect to one another. We need to connect to people and not products if we're going to resist unsustainable eating. If you look at the UNICEF Southeast Asia Regional Report, they come up with some basic solutions. Things like marketing and labeling unhealthy foods so that young people don't have a tendency to get addicted to those styles of eating. They recommend labeling and distributing information about what healthy eating looks like. They also incentivize the production of nutritious and safe, commercially available foods, largely traditional foods. And finally, they encourage the establishment of food-based dietary guidelines for pregnant and lactating women and little kids. These are all good food system actions, but for young people, those are big picture government ways of modifying how your food system operates, and they're not really accessible for young people. But the future could look different than how it is trending with the technosphere. What we're seeing around the region are some very promising ideas. We see youth-led movements to connect to urban farming. We see student-initiated programs for school vegetable gardens. I love that. I love getting nature back into the classroom. I see young entrepreneurs creating sustainable eating alternatives, and there are youth cooperatives connecting farmers to organic farming techniques. And so I'd like to point out a few ideas that can plant in your mind, and you can start connecting to others with these ideas in your mind. There are a couple in Indonesia I'd like to point out. There's Burgreens, a plant-based restaurant chain that also holds workshops on sustainable food. They also have a plant-based protein startup that emphasizes Asian flavors. That's a really new idea. There's Sayurbox, which I love this. It's a digital farm-to-table platform. It connects farmers who have cell phones and usually have internet connection, but they don't have a way to connect to their consumers. They don't have a direct line, and this platform allows farmers to connect to buyers in the city and also get fair prices. In the Philippines, we see the Good Food Company, youth-led, community-supported agriculture, where you buy a subscription to a farm and you get fresh farm-direct vegetables on a regular basis. They also have farmer training programs and urban gardening workshops. There's even a food fiesta in Manila every year talking about sustainable food systems. we need more of this kind of connection and community. And that's something that young people can really take a bite out of. In Thailand, there's Root the Future, which has plant-based food awards. How great is that? I've not heard of anybody else doing plant-based food awards. They have a sustainability education program, sort of big picture stuff, and a youth ambassador program for sustainable eating. Notice again, connection. There's the Young Farmers Thailand. It's a farming network. It again makes connections for young farmers to reach markets and trains them on organic farming if they need that, and also has school gardening programs. There's been some good research in it too recently in Chiang Rai province that shows that farmers need more connection. They need videos, they need Instagram, they need data that they can use to understand who their markets are and what they can do to farm better for their particular region. And that's something I know young people are good at, is the Instagram and the YouTube and so forth. One of my favorite YouTube people actually is from Thailand, Pai Chongchitnat. She has a great, her shirt says it perfectly, life is short, eat Thai food. She was born in Thailand. I think she lives in Vancouver now, and she just has a YouTube series. How simple is that? She takes you with her to the supermarket so that you can see what kind of foods she buys. She buys fresh food. She shows how to cook it. It's simple, and it's developing those native cooking skills. And then she eats with people, that connection again. So if you don't have a lot of money, but you're young, you can connect in ways like that. Malaysia has Grub Cycle. I haven't talked much about reducing food waste, but they have a surplus food redistribution app. You can log in and say, hey, we have 50 extra sandwiches from our event, and they'll take care of it, and they'll get it to people who need it. Singapore has SG Food Rescue, largely the same type of mechanism. Again, bits and pieces of connecting one group to another group. And those connections are what we need massively more of. And I think young people are well positioned to make things matter there. Vietnam has the Green Youth Collective. How great. Urban farming, rooftop gardens, they even have a composting network. I think we need to make it really cool to have someone celebrating their mulch pile or their compost pile. Composting is cool. We just need to make it resonate throughout the rest of the society. And there's Organo Rice, which is developing sustainable rice farming practices for the Mekong region. And there's farmer education and even ways of marketing your rice as, hey, I've got sustainable rice. Invest in my vision. Again, these are not things that require a huge upfront capital investment for young people. These are things that young people can do and make the connections and get the ball rolling pretty early. I'm a big fan of school gardens. This is the School Plus Home Gardens project in the Philippines. And you can see that there's kids, they're trained, they're primed to learn by being in school. And they're thinking about, how can nature be a part of my school? How can I be invested in learning about not just math and basic school classes, but about how my ecosystems work. And so you can see in this that you've got basically a polyculture cultivation going on here. And I think that this really gets kids to work together and think about things together, because they'll talk about it. Oh, did you smell this? It smells so good. That connecting and binding is really what we need more of. I could go through this entire slide. It's a very thorough evaluation by Chen et al. It just came out this summer in the journal Frontiers in Sustainable Food Systems. The citation is here at the bottom. But it basically says, here are those domains: agriculture and food systems, nutrition, health and culture, innovations and digitalization in food systems, and policy. And young people maybe can't hit all of these, but there are some that they can really jump in on. And some of the things we've already talked about: building sustainable food systems, local food systems, responsible manufacturing, healthy food choice education. All of these pieces are here. And what's really lacking is getting people away from their screens, away from their cell phones, and talking face to face with people. When I think about young people and the leverage they can bring, I think connecting through social media is probably one of the best. If they say, if you have an Instagram account and you're saying, oh, look, this is what I'm eating. I'm eating this food. It's a traditional, it's really healthy. And, I don't feel kind of oily and yucky after having eaten it. Share that. Talk to people about what you're doing. Maybe peer-to-peer learning, cooking together, gardening together, reconnecting to nature. Those types of activities not only expose people to new ideas, new ways to cook or new ways to garden, but they also build that social capital that like, oh, I need to work on putting together a granting opportunity. I need to call my friend who I just had dinner with the other day. Building those networks takes time, and I think that's a critical piece. There are sustainable food startups like Burgerings. You can start them in your kitchen, and they can scale up from the individual to the household, to the neighborhood, to the community. And we need to revisit connecting to traditional foods, but maybe in new ways, and think about how we can live healthier lives. You can have forces on government and communities as young people. You can ask for funding and resources. You can start to build connections to established food industry players, and you can help build connections for farmers to markets. Probably most importantly is networking to scale and learning how to expand the initiatives that start to find traction. But probably most important from my perspective is that we need to change the way we think about our food systems. We need to recognize that there's a system that we can call the technosphere, you can call it whatever you want, but it wants us to be obese and looking at our screens and making money for just the reason of buying more stuff. And we need different ways of doing things than that. We need something that makes our food systems healthier and connected to the natural world. If I were thinking about the technosphere as a model, I would say it would be anthropocentric. It would have animals that we would call lower life forms here and higher life forms. It puts the man above the woman. It's a triangle of dominance. Instead, we need to think about biocentrism. We need to think that, hey, if we help out the snakes and the mushrooms, they will help us out too. It's a team project. And instead of just having one great player on the team, we need to have a great team all around, sort of a biocentric model. Sometimes I look at some of the cities that we have and I don't see much nature. I see advertisement, I see a lot of concrete, but I don't see a lot of green. I know there's some trees. There's some trees here and there and on the sides, but it's basically humans and then not much else. It's humans plus technosphere. But I think we need to live more sustainably and not put nature over there away from us. I think by living more sustainably, we can eat more sustainably, and that will be better for all of us. And to do that, we need to connect. Do we want a relationship with nature? Or do we want dominion over nature? Which one of these looks like the place where you want to live? Well, one of these is the technosphere, and the other one is a better food system. So I want to leave you with this idea. Connect to your neighbors, connect to your farmers, connect to your communities. Connect, connect, connect. That is the way to a better, more sustainable food system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moore, for that enlightening presentation. Thank you so much for re-emphasizing our existing problems on the triple burden of malnutrition, coupled with the food security challenges and our changing eating patterns. Based on Dr. Moore, we learned that there is a disproportionate share of food expenditure in Southeast Asia. There is an increasing westernization of our food systems, and the availability also of the ultra-processed food, which is high in sugars and oils. And the other thing that we learned is that technosphere is in our brains. So the technology and the systems that we are using and that we are creating can indeed influence our thoughts and behaviors, and it becomes part of our cognitive processes and our societal structures. So Dr. Moore also raised an important question about how our technosphere interactions would shape our understanding of the food systems, and and he also encouraged us to reflect on the balance between our reliance and on technology and our human experiences. So I hope that with all those insights on the interconnectedness of food systems, of health, and our environment, all of us are inspired, especially hearing about the initiatives in the food systems transformation in Southeast Asia, like the Grab Cycle in Malaysia, the food rescue in Singapore, and the School Plus Home Gardens in the Philippines. So again, thank you so much, Dr. Moore. And with that, may I humbly request Dr. Jess to represent Dr. Herku to join me and Dr. Nathan for a photo session. All right, so Dr. Moore and Dr. Jess, please smile on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Moore. Please, let's give a round of applause to Dr. Moore. Thank you very much. And also, may we request everyone to open your cameras for a photo opportunity with our keynote speaker. Please be ready to open your cameras. All right, let's wait for a few minutes for everyone to get ready. All right, and then we'll take a photo of the first slide. Please hold your smile.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
For the first slide, please smile. 1, 2, 3. All right, and then for the second slide. Okay. All right, so please take a photo of the second slide. All right, I think it's all good. Thank you very much, everyone, for that enthusiastic participation in our keynote presentation and photo session. Thank you once again, Dr. Moore, for that wonderful discussion. Thank you po. And then we are now moving on to another exciting segment of our program, the introduction and presentation of our 5 selected youth speakers. Our moderator for today is Dr. Irma Danao from the Institute of Human Nutrition and Food, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Nutrition from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and her pursuit of knowledge didn't stop there. She also obtained a postgraduate diploma in management studies from St. Patrick's International College in London, followed by a Master of Business Administration from the University of Sunderland in the UK. Dr. Danao also completed her PhD in Human Nutrition at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, further solidifying her expertise in the field. With that, let us welcome on virtual stage our moderator for today, Dr. Irma Danao.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Anne. Good morning to everyone. So it is a pleasure to moderate this first ever Southeast Asian Youth Forum with the theme Healthy Plates, Healthy Future, Youth Leading the Way for Sustainable Eating. So somehow I can relate to those examples of the initiatives that Dr. Nathan Moore had discussed a while ago. I was once kid. I was once a young kid, no, who planted mustasa or like okra in one of the backyards in our school during my elementary days. Okay, so Dr. Nathan Moore already set the keynote of our theme for today's forum. So I am as excited as you are to now listen to the speeches as well as the dialogues of our youth speakers as they converse, or rather as they connect to us their thoughts and ideas for a sustainable eating. But before our speakers, let us first have the presentation guidelines for them to be guided. So, number one, so each youth speaker has a maximum of 10 minutes to present, and a timer will be displayed for their guide. If the time limit is exceeded, the speaker should conclude promptly, and I may also prompt them just in case they were not able to see the timer. So questions for youth speakers can be
Recording
addressed
stopped.
only during the open forum following the presentation. So with that, it is an honor to finally introduce to you our 5 pairs or 5 teams of youth speakers. So they are the last 5 teams standing from the 86 applicants, 12
Recording in
finalists,
progress.
okay, and they are the pioneers of the Southeast Asian Forum. So a round of applause to Claire Nang Yen Wei and Saily Verin Vartak from the IMU University, Malaysia. So can they open their videos? Our second team would be from SMA Noraida Islamic Boarding School, Bogor, Indonesia, Farah Mucha Rahman and Nindia Shafera. Is Miss Farah and Miss Ninja there already? Okay. And our third team would be from SMP Negeri 3, Surakarta, Indonesia, Miss Hannah Hapsari and Veronica Amalia Nekin Resante. We can have a virtual applause now to welcome our speakers. And our fourth speakers are from Lao Tropical and Public Health Institute, Vientiane, Lao PDR, Ms. Hong Kong Savayong, and Pidatib Konavong. And last but not the least, from the Indonesia International Institute for Life Sciences, Ms. Vanessa Elivia and Graciela Virginia Erwantojo. Okay, a round of applause for these speakers. With that, let us now hear the speech or the speeches of our speakers. First off would be Miss Claire and Miss Siley. Miss Claire and Miss Siley, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Miss. So, good afternoon to all ladies and gentlemen. We are Siri and Claire from IME University, and today we are here to talk about something that impacts all of us: sustainable eating. This is not just a topic for Southeast Asia, but for the whole world. How many of us actually think about the environmental effect of every meal we consume? This is not just about what is on our plates today, but it is about what will be on our plates tomorrow. Our food systems are currently under a huge strain due to unsustainability caused by the way we produce, consume, and waste food. Let's think about Southeast Asia for a moment. Agriculture is crucial for millions of livelihoods, but also contributes to deforestation, soil degradation, and climate change. In fact, did you know that nearly one third of global greenhouse gas emissions come from fruit production? Agriculture also accounts up to 80% of deforestation and 70% of freshwater use globally, making our current food system unsustainable, and also changes in weather patterns and over-farming have made it harder for farmers to produce and enough food, causing malnutrition and the rise of diet-related diseases like diabetes and heart disease. The unsustainable food system is affecting the planet and the health of the population, particularly young people, as they don't have access to healthy, affordable food options. Let me share a personal story to show how this affects real people. My grandfather grew up in a rural farming community, and my family relied on farming for survival. But as weather patterns became more unpredictable, too much rain for one season, not enough the next one, it became harder to grow enough food, and also which led to poor nutrition. This story isn't unique, it happens all across Southeast Asia. His experiences highlighted the deep connection between food choices, environmental sustainability, and health, emphasizing the need to adopt sustainable practices for future food security. It taught me that our food choices are directly linked to the environment, and we need to start making changes now to ensure food security for future generations. Now, let's take a look at the broader implication of this issue and why sustainable practices are more important than ever. The consequences of inaction on food system sustainability are severe. Southeast Asia, already vulnerable to climate related disasters like floods and droughts, will face escalating environmental degradation, food insecurity, and health issues such as diabetes and heart disease. Sustainable practices are essential to preserve resources, improve food security, and curb non communicable diseases. According to the World Obesity Atlas 2023, 13% of Southeast Asia's population could be overweight or obese by 2035 if prevention and support measures do not improve. But not to worry, there is still hope. In Malaysia and in Indonesia, agroforestry practices are showing positive results by conserving methods which also support small scale farmers who face significant challenges from climate change and market pressures, making them vulnerable to poverty. Agroforestry, like Indonesia's cocoa cultivation under shade trees and Indonesia's integration of forest trees in rubber and palm oil farming, enhances soil fertility, reduces deforestation, and also boosts farmers' livelihoods, providing a sustainable path forward for both environmental and local communities. Youth play a very vital role in addressing environmental degradation and food insecurity. As advocates, innovators, and influencers, they can promote ethical practices and sustainable lifestyles, driving industry change. Their involvement in policy, education, and community movements can lead to better food choices and ensure long term food security. Studies show that consumers aged 18 to 35 are more likely to support sustainable food choices than the older generations.
As we've seen, you
Daily.
have the power to drive change. But how can we take action now? It actually starts with each of us. We need to act now before it's too late to reverse the damage to our environment and food systems. It's up to each of us, especially the young people, to take the lead and make choices that push us toward a healthier, more sustainable future. One of the key areas where we need change is through government action, as they play a big role in this. They need to focus more on sustainable farming and nutrition education in their policies. The harm towards our environment can be reduced by offering subsidies and incentives for sustainable practices like crop rotation and agroforestry to boost productivity and help farmers earn stable incomes. These subsidies can be linked to particular programs such as payment for ecosystem services, and also governments should enforce stricter regulations with penalties for overuse, such as the harmful pesticides and synthetic fertilizers, to help promote organic alternatives. Certification programs for sustainably farmed products, such as organic or fair trade labels, can also benefit farmers by offering premium market prices for long-term food security. Real case studies such as in India and also the Philippines suggest that fair trade certification can benefit small farmers and aid disadvantaged farmers in natural resource management. Secondly, youth initiatives are also crucial in bridging the gap between food production and consumption. Schools can promote food sustainability by integrating environmental impact into to their curriculum and offering sustainable meals. Urban gardening programs can deepen students' environmental connection and also encourage healthy food practices, which in turn influence the school policies and community practices. The importance of integrating nutrition education into the school curriculums is also emphasized in UNICEF's Nutrition for Every Child, UNICEF Nutrition Strategy 2020 to 2030. Similarly, the Food and Agriculture Organization also supports the view that educating youth about food systems, sustainability, and nutrition is essential for a future of food security. And according to global studies on the education for rural people, it points out that school-based food education programs have been linked to increased awareness of food sustainability, reduced waste, and healthier consumption patterns in children. Building on that, it's also equally important to recognize that role of businesses playing in promoting sustainable food practices. Because by adopting environmentally friendly packaging while minimizing the food waste and promoting sustainably sourced goods through marketing initiatives, this can actually influence young consumers like us to influence their purchases, supporting local farmers, and by purchasing sustainably produced items that can encourage greener practices. For an example, in Singapore, there's a youth-led group such as the Foodscape Collective, and they have effectively raised awareness and supported urban gardening as a way to secure local food sustainability. And to expand on this concept, businesses could also collaborate with suppliers who employ ecologically beneficial practices such as regenerative agriculture. And this can actually help to greatly reduce the carbon footprint of food production. Next, we, the youth, have the power to inspire change by making responsible food choices and leading efforts towards sustainable eating. Peer-led campaigns in schools and communities can help to promote the benefits of balanced diets and also reduce the food waste. Advocating for a healthy plate, healthy future encourages mindful choices that impact both health and the environment. So for example, social media can be a strong tool for sharing tips on meal planning, cutting food waste, and also choosing sustainable options. And by taking these steps, young people can create a real change in food systems and build a healthier future for everyone. So in conclusion, what we want to leave you with today is this. Sustainable eating isn't just about what's on your plate today, but it's about what's going to be on the plates of future generations. As youth, we have a unique opportunity to lead the way, and we can be the driving force behind the policy changes, business innovations, and cultural shifts needed to make our food system sustainable. We will leave you with a simple African proverb that really resonates with us. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Sustainable eating is not just a personal choice, but it's a collective responsibility. And together we can make sure that Southeast Asia moves toward a future where our food is both nourishing and sustainably produced. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire and Siley. A challenging conclusion, indeed. Now, for our second speakers, let us listen to Ms. Farah and Nindya.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry, since the screen is now kind of breaking, I'm going to just start my presentation with my partner. So, good morning. My name is Nindya Zafira Stian Putri. You can just call me Zafira, and my partner is Farah Mutia Rahman, and she goes by Farah. So, I'm going to,
Nindya,
yes.
sorry to disturb you. Can you present it using the presenter's view or like
Okay,
present your...
I think I'm just going to stop sharing because
Okay,
my screen is kind of blank.
all right.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going to start my presentation. So imagine if you walk into the doors of your school's dining hall, students fill their plates with food, piles of rice, and vegetables, as well as sweet fruits. You look at the tables and all you see is half-eaten plates of food getting thrown into garbage buckets. Obviously, it's unedible wasted. Now imagine, but get this. What if all of that food waste could actually be used to mean something? Something that not only feeds students in a better way, but feeds the earth as well. The above is not a distant scenario. It happens at schools all over the planet, and we can make a difference. Good morning, fellow youth, environmental activists, policymakers, and learners. Today we are here to discuss a silent revolution that started from a dinner plate, where an important yet under-prioritized battle over food waste is taking place. The key is to use a systematic process called a food waste audit based on the sensory approach and fallibility of students to make a breakthrough in reducing food waste. So let's start with the statistics. The food waste contributes 41.4% of the total waste in Indonesia, stated by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry in 2023. This means that Indonesia is the second largest country in food waste in the world. This is more than just a number. It is a real phenomenon that will have significant environmental, social, and economic consequences. When food is wasted, so are the resources used to grow, transport, and cook. It including water, energy, and then the land. Also, the food that rots in landfills releases methane, a greenhouse gas strong enough to surpass another pollutant types called carbon dioxide. The impact of methane extends far beyond social and economic consequences. One area where this issue is most urgently visible yet least addressed is in boarding schools, which could also extend to other educational institutions. These schools prepare daily meals for hundreds, even thousands of students through their own kitchens, and this results in a very large amount of food waste. However, children may not eat this food if they don't like it, and much of that food could go to waste. This issue is exacerbated by the lack of input from students regarding their food preferences. So, how do we address this? Such a question was answered thanks to an innovative and data-backed method of food audit. But more specifically through sensory preference and palatability, what is food waste audit exactly? It is a process whereby we keep a check on how much food we are wasting, how it can be measured and analyzed. However, the big one is identifying why some food waste gets wasted more than others by interacting indirectly with students, those who consume this. And here how it works.
So here is how it works, step by step. First, observing and gathering data. To start, we measure food waste at the source in a school kitchen or at a dining hall. This includes monitoring the percentage of uneaten food that is thrown away after each meal. This data only represents the beginning, a benchmark into how bad food waste truly is. Second, focus group discussion and share the questionnaire. Next, we hold focus group discussion with students. Now, this is when we start to discuss the idea of sensory types. A student reviews the texture, flavor, and the palatability of meals during their own interaction with this food. We gathered students from various educational levels and ages to share their opinions about the meal plan that was served. The result of the focus group discussion are used to formulate questions for the distribution of the questionnaire. Then we interact with the student. We hand out questionnaire about what sort of meal they like to eat. What do they enjoy eating? What other food items are generally avoided? How come they never eat everything on their plate? Third, menu documentation. One of the many changes we analyzed is the school meal plan, which we developed with input from the student. What type of food is served? What food is often repeated, and what food should be avoided to reduce food waste. We can identify which food are wasted the most and how much based on the menu we have documented, so that we can easily analyze the feedback we have received. Fourth, analysis of sensory preferences. Perhaps the most striking aspect of this audit is the sensory attributes and palatability aspect, such as how the food looks, tastes, and feels in the mouth. This data significantly affects student consumption patterns. For example, it turns out that students like fried chicken but do not like fried fish. They don't like raw vegetables, but they really enjoy stir-fried vegetables. This data is important for designing meals that students will enjoy. reducing food waste, and expanding the appeal of school food options to match their taste. Fifth, adjusting menus. Now that we have all this data, it's time for the school to make the necessary adjustment, namely to create a food menu based on the preferences and palatability of the student. For example, if students don't like plain steamed vegetable, we could try roasting them or sprinkling cheese or carbonara on top so that students still consume vegetable while catering their taste. With this, students are happy to consume the food served, nutrition is still obtained, and food waste can be reduced. 6. Student access to menu development. One of example concrete improvement that most changed up the game was involving students in the meal planning process. Letting students have a word in what they eat will make them value their meals more and less likely to toss food. By involving them in the process, it gives a sense of ownership and accountability. It feels like the student made the dishes. The more they participate, the more conscious they are about food waste. After conducting thorough research and analyzing the data from our recent foods, thank you. After conducting thorough research and analyzing the data from our recent food preferences survey, one thing became very clear: our students have a strong preference when it comes to the type of protein and vegetable they enjoy the most. Among the various protein options available, 84.7% students choose chicken as their favorite, standing out as the top choices. On the vegetable side, another interesting insight surface: 54.3% of students choose kangkung or water spinach. It has proven to be the most preferred vegetable. Its distinct taste and texture, along with its nutritional benefit, make it a popular choice among the students. It's often featured in local dishes, like chicken offers flexibility in preparation from stir fries to soup. This data underscore the importance of understanding student preferences when planning meals. By incorporating more of these beloved ingredients like chicken and kangkung into our menu, we can not only reduce food waste, but also ensure that the students are excited about the meals they are served.
But now take a step back and think about this on a larger scale. When we reduce food waste at school, it's not just about cleaning up the food waste within the school environment. It also alleviates the burden on our environment.
So where do we go from here? The time to act is now. You could be the change in your school from today. Track what you are wasting, engage your constituent in menu planning, and advocate for better, less wasteful, and more sustainable food choices. Every step we take together is a small piece of that future where waste just ended and became an opportunity to brand a difference. The journey to save the planet begins on your plate. Let's take that first step today for us and our planet. Once again, waste not, feed the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Farah and Nelia. Okay, so thank you for sharing your ways on how to audit food waste. There's no really waste listening to your speeches. So now let us hear our third speakers, Miss Hannah and Miss Veronica.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Esteemed guests and fellow advocates for a sustainable future. Before we started, let me introduce our team. My name is Veronica Amalia and my partner Hana Absari. We are from Junior High School 3 Surakarta, Indonesia. Actually, we are young teachers who have interest in nutrition and food. And now we will talk about Japanese traditional food from Solo, Indonesia for students and Gen Z. It is with great pride and immense gratitude that we stand before you today. We would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the Almighty God for granting us this opportunity to discuss a topic of such importance. As we gather here to explore the path towards a sustainable future, we are honored to share the inspiring efforts of the youth in Solo, Indonesia, in championing sustainable eating practices, to our rich Japanese culinary tradition. We stand today at a critical juncture in history, where the choices we make about food can either lead us down a path of environmental destruction or a path toward a healthier, sustainable future. The theme of this forum, sustainable eating, is not just a trendy topic. It's a matter of urgency. The way we consume food is having significant impacts on both the environment and public health, and it is our responsibility, especially as youth, to lead the charge in addressing this issue. One of the most pressing problems we face is the rising consumption of processed and imported foods, which are contributing environmental degradation and decline of our cultural food tradition. Processed food are often produced in ways that harm the environment, relying on unsustainable agricultural practices and generating large amounts of carbon emission through transportation. A recent study by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, shows that agriculture is responsible for 24% of global greenhouse gas emission. If we continue on this path, we risk further climate change getting worse and losing vital ecosystem. But this isn't just an environmental issue. It is a public health crisis as well. According to the World Health Organization, or WHO, unhealthy diets are a leading cause of non-communicable diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. This is particularly alarming for young people, including Gen Z, who are the most affected by modern and unhealthy eating habits. Let me share a quick story from my hometown of Solo, Indonesia. Many of my peers have turned to fast food as a quick and easy option. But at what cost? This shift not only impacts their health, but also disconnects them from their cultural heritage. If we do not address this problem, the consequence will be dire. Our health, environment, and cultural identity are at stake. Local farmers who grow nutrient-rich and traditional foods will lose their livelihoods as demand for processed food increases. The biodiversity of local crops, which have been cultivated for centuries, will vanish. Our communities will be more vulnerable to climate change as an unsustainable food system contribute to soil depletion and water scarcity and also global warming. Thank you, Veronica. I will continue the presentation. Okay, thank you, Veronica. I will continue the presentation. All right. Great. Hello.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. I will continue the presentation. Addressing this issue is not just about saving the environment, but it's about protecting our future. Sustainable eating, particularly through the promotion of local tradition foods, offer a valuable solution. In Solo, Indonesia, we are fortunate to have rich culinary tradition rooted in sustainability. Japanese tradition food are not only local source, but they are also deeply nutrition, offering a sustainable alternative to unhealthy processed food. By reviving these traditions, we are not just preserving our heritage, but also promoting healthier lifestyle for the younger generation. The youth in Solo are already leading this change. We have taken up the responsibility to educate our peers and the broader community about the importance of sustainable eating. Through social media campaign, workshop, and community events, we are spreading awareness of the benefit of Japanese traditional food, which support local farmers, reduce the carbon footprint, and promote health. Additionally, various culinary festivals such as the Solo Indonesia Culinary Festival, and then Jenang Festival, and then International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste, and also free nutrition meals trials in many schools Solo have been organized to celebrate and promote our traditional foods. This festival play a crucial role in showcasing the riches of our culinary heritage and encourage people to embrace sustainable eating practice. But awareness is just the first step. We must now take action, and it must happen fast. The urgency of this issue cannot be overstated. If we continue to rely on processed food and ignore the benefit of traditional food system, we will face irreversible environmental damage and public health catastrophe. Therefore, I propose the following recommendation. First, we must take all responsibility. Every individual has the power to make change by choosing sustainable food in their life. Small action like supporting local farmer, buying seasonal produce, and reducing food waste can collectively have a huge impact. The second, government support for local farmer. Government and policymakers must step in. I urge local authorities to support local farmers through subsidies and incentives that encourage the production of traditional crops. Governments should also promote traditional food markers, ensuring that local sustainable options are available to everyone. Policies that reduce reliance on imported processed food must be implemented if we are to reduce the environmental impact of our food system. And the third is partnership across sector. Partnerships are the key. School, business, non-governmental organizations, and individuals must collaborate to make sustainable eating the norm. For example, private companies can sponsor campaigns or invest in the infrastructure needed for local food production. Communities can organize events like traditional food days to showcase the benefit of local sustainable eating. And the last, education awareness in school community. We need investment in education and awareness programs. School and community centers should integrate sustainable eating and traditional food education into their curricula. Students should be taught not only about nutrition, but also about the environment and cultural importance of the food they consume. Youth organization can lead workshops and events that highlight how traditional food practice contribute to sustainability. Free nutritious meal trial in many schools have been done in Solo. In conclusion, the youth of Solo are proving that sustainable eating is not just a dream, but a reality we can achieve. By promoting Japanese traditional food, we are leading the way toward a healthier, more sustainable future. It's time for us, youth, government, school, business, and communities to come together and take action. The choices we make today will determine the health of our planet and the legacy we leave for future generations. Just as the root of a tree anchor is firmly to the earth, so to do our tradition and action ground us in sustainable future. To echo this sentiment with a bit poetic charm. In Solo lands where traditional blooms, young heart rise to dispel the gloom. With plates of health and future bright, we lead the way to a world made right. So let us embrace this journey with dedication and hope, knowing that our collective action can build a healthier, more sustainable for future. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hannah and Veronica, for sharing the culture and traditions of the Japanese food, as well as for highlighting the importance of this in also, hopefully, not changing with the technosphere or with the improvements that we have now in the environment. Now, we are now down to our fourth speakers. Let us welcome Ms. Hung Kam and Tida Tib.
Hi, I'm trying to share the screen. Just a moment. Sorry, I cannot share the screen.
Can we share the screen of our participants, speakers? Ma'am Reti, did you share your slides to the organizers? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let me introduce ourselves first. My name is Hong Kam Sayawong, and our team, Dr. Tidati Gunawong, Board of Art from Lab Tropical Public Health Institute, Ministry of Health from Lab PDR. Today is a good day, and I'm very great to speak today about a topic that directly change not only our individual future, but also the future of our planet, our food. As we getting here, we are studying at the critical intersection between health and sustainability. The choice we make today, from what we put on our plates to the way we produce our food, will determine the health of our community, our ecosystem, and generation to come. In a world where 2.5 billion people are overweight and 1.3 million tons of food are wasted each year, the way we eat has never been more important. Unhealthy eating behavior are fueling a rise in non-communicable diseases like diabetes and heart disease, while our food system contributes significantly to climate change and environmental degradation. Nowadays, current food system responsible for 34% of global human-induced greenhouse gas emission, while agriculture was responsible for 70 up to 80% of deforestation in tropical regions. A clear example of how unhealthy eating behavior and unsustainable food system intersect is the widespread consumption of the other processed food. Those foods are often high in added sugar, unhealthy fat, and sodium. At the same time, its production heavily relies on industrial agriculture, which leads to the environmental impacts. Take soft drinks, for instance. A study found that consumption 1 sugar drink per day increases the risk of type 2 diabetes by 26%. Additionally, the plastic packaging contributes to pollution and the global plastic waste crisis. But here is the good news: change is happening. The use are the use are the leading of the child. We are the generation that is passionate, informed, and ready to act. We can push for the shift toward healthier and more sustainable diet. Young people are already making waves in the movement for healthy place, healthy future. However, we're still facing challenges in school and communities. Unhealthy foods are often more available and affordable than sustainable food. Even when we know what healthy are, there's still often a gap between knowledge and action. To enable youth to lead advocacy, these barriers must be addressed. To ensure a shift toward sustainable food system, a multi-stakeholder approach is required, where government body, organization, business, and the generation public, particularly youth, all have a lot to pay. Today, we will explore how we can enable young leaders to be the forefront of this transformation.
Firstly, the availability and accessibility of sustainable food can be improved by supporting local farmers and ensuring that healthy, affordable options are available in schools, universities, and public spaces. Governments must take the lead in creating policy frameworks that promote local food production and support sustainable farming practices. Governments can also mandate that schools, universities, and public spaces procure a portion of their food from local, sustainable sources. Such policies would not only promote healthier diets, but also create stable demand for locally sourced food. Farmers markets and direct-to-consumer sales models, including online platforms, could be expanded to increase the availability and accessibility of local produce. Secondly, to empower youth in making sustainable food choices, their knowledge and practical skills must be enhanced through targeted educational programs. School and community programs should integrate nutrition education with a focus on sustainability, health, and environmental impacts of their food choices. This could include lessons on food systems such as how food is grown, distributed, and consumed, also highlighting the importance of local, seasonal, and minimally processed food. Additionally, providing hands-on learning opportunities such as school garden can help students understand sustainable agriculture and develop a deeper connection to the food they eat. These programs should also emphasize practical skills like cooking and gardening, equipping youth with the tools to make healthy, sustainable choices. Learning to prepare meals from whole plant-based ingredients help reduce reliance on processed food, while gardening teaches self-sufficiency and an appreciation of where food comes from. By embedding such knowledge in the school curriculum and expanding it into community-based initiatives, young people can be prepared to lead the movement toward more sustainable eating practice. And most importantly, young people themselves need to be at the center of decision-making process. Youth, as the next generation of leaders and consumers, must advocate for and adopt sustainable eating practice, whether through individual actions such as reducing food waste, embracing plant-based diets, or activism such as campaigning for school meal reforms. Empowering young people to participate in decision-making about food systems at the community level ensures that their voices are heard in shaping sustainable futures. By involving young people in school food committees, for instance, they can contribute directly to decisions about food choices within their schools, promoting healthier and more sustainable meals. These give them the opportunity to influence their immediate environment while learning about nutrition and sustainability in practice. Engaging in such committees also fosters leadership skills and teaches young people about the complex dynamics of food system and policy making. To further support these efforts, teachers and parents can play a vital role in giving them advices on healthy food options, meal preparation, and budgeting for nutritious food. Additionally, partnerships with governments and non-governmental organizations can amplify the voices of young advocates. By collaborating with established institutions that work toward food system reforms, youth can influence broader public policy, ensuring that their concerns are heard and acted upon. In conclusion, by empowering young people to lead the way through their advocacy efforts and ensuring improved food availability and accessibility, we can pave the way for a future where sustainable eating becomes the standard. Through education, practical skills training, and participation in decision-making processes, young people can help shape food environments that prioritize nutrition and sustainability. When sustainable food choices are accessible to everyone, we can protect both human health and their environment, reducing the burden of lifestyle-related disease and mitigating the impact of industrial agriculture on climate change. In this way, empowering youth contributes not only to individual well-being, but also the health of ecosystems, ensuring a thriving future for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hong Kam and for sharing the multi-sectoral approach on sustainable eating and highlighting the role of youth, as you've shared some initiatives that youth can lead in this sustainable eating. Okay, with that, let us now welcome the last speakers, but definitely not the last, the least, Miss Vanessa and Graciela.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. We're Vanessa and Graciela from I3L Indonesia. Do you know that despite being renowned for its rich diversity, Indonesia continues facing significant food and nutrition challenges, threatening health and well-being? Currently, Indonesia suffers from the triple burden of malnutrition, stemming largely from Indonesians' inability to access nutritious food resources and lack of knowledge. Simultaneously, Indonesia's food waste from 2000 to 2019 was 115 to 184 kilograms per capita per year, despite being ranked 77 out of 125 countries in terms of the hunger rate in 2023. This underscores the importance of addressing food and nutrition insecurity, also highlighted in UNICEF's conceptual framework to achieve Indonesia's Sustainable Development Goals, Zero Hunger. Meanwhile, the food waste issues are related to the Goal 12 of the SDG to practice sustainable consumption and production patterns. At this point, I believe that you may have recalled some moments from your own life that echo the issues mentioned. I kindly request you to take a moment to reflect on the daily scenes of parents purchasing multiple snacks containing high amounts of sugar, salt, and fat. Some of the most demanded snacks I often see in shopping carts are candies, potato chips, and multiple snacks containing high amounts of sugar of instant noodles. I vividly remember the moment I went to a snack store and witnessed a parent offering their child packaged seasoned fried chicken to be paired with rice for lunch. When I was in a bakery, I saw parents coming in to buy large lollipops for their children. And at the same time, I frequently see people tossing away food into the trash can when it's barely even touched. These pieces of moments are the reflection of the data we acquired. So you may ask, what is the big deal? Does it even matter that children are malnourished? Is food waste really an issue? The answer is undoubtedly yes. Malnutrition, which possesses an intergenerational effect, could have a prolonged cycle, becoming more challenging to resolve. Some of you may assume that a single family experiencing malnutrition has no effect towards us, but try to consider this. If multiple families fall into malnutrition, the productivity of the whole nation would decline. Businesses, maybe yours, will then have employees which could not perform their best, affecting the whole company. The challenges also extend to the healthcare system. With the increasing demand for medical care due to malnutrition, resources would be exhausted, making it less accessible. Now, let's consider our own families, our own children. If they're malnourished, they are more likely to have irreversible cognitive impairments, and not just poor school performance or learning capacity, but it would hinder them from the opportunities in the future. A child with malnutrition today may struggle to escape the cycle of poverty tomorrow, subsequently burdening the government and affecting everyone. Similarly, food waste and unsustainable diets may escalate the cost of food production, raising the prices for food and lowering the accessibility for the lower income population. What is more is that our diets, high in animal-based products and excessive processing, demand more resources, which could cause loss of biodiversity and environmental damages. Not to mention, the greenhouse gas emissions from the decomposed wasted food in the landfill causes global warming. In addition, the unsustainable diets, which lack plant-based food resources, may heighten the risk for non-communicable diseases. It is heartbreaking to think that there are so many things that could be done together, yet the lack of awareness and action allowed these issues to prevail. But today, I want us to believe that we could turn the situation around, not just the government and policymakers, but us too. We believe that youths too have a voice in initiating a change. We suggest the establishment of a youth-driven movement called YES, Youth Educating and Empowering Society on Sustainability program, which focuses primarily on fostering multi-sectoral collaboration between Indonesian youths, government bodies, agricultural sectors, educational institutions, health professionals, and many more. This program consists of 3 main action plans, each of which will be elaborated in the following details. Inspired by Eckhart Tolle's words, awareness is the greatest agent for change. Our program's first priority is to raise awareness about health, nutrition, and food security. In our opinion, building a well-informed population is crucial. We can achieve this by tailoring our approach to meet the different age groups. For the younger generation, we plan to collaborate with a non-governmental organization to launch a social media campaign where youth are the key actors. The campaign can be held once every 6 months and feature engaging educational content along with challenges. For example, participants could be encouraged to follow a well-balanced diet for an entire week without producing any food waste. Then explain the significance of their actions to their peers and challenge them to do the same. Hopefully, they can raise each other's awareness on the issue and motivate them to adopt sustainable practices. For the older generation, the government also promotes educational commercials in various media platforms. Additionally, public health and healthcare institutions could provide and share accurate science-based information for the older generation. Furthermore, in rural areas, community health centers can serve as venues for socializations to educate the lower-income population. This initiative can be supported by youth volunteers or sessions led by local healthcare professionals. The government and media should collaboratively work and allocate additional funding to support the implementation of these programs regularly.
Furthermore, the second part of the program is to conduct cooking demonstrations, which utilizes local ingredients to create high visibility of home-level replication. This is especially important given that we are currently facing rising health and environmental challenges, and therefore, promoting nutritious local food options becomes a matter of promoting both public health and environmental sustainability. To achieve this, we will collaborate with the local chefs and nutritionists to host live cooking demonstrations at community centers, where they will also educate home cooks on the importance of portion sizes, food types, and preparation methods. We believe that encouraging people to cook with locally sourced ingredients can foster healthier and more sustainable eating habits, further aligning our efforts with sustainability goals. To facilitate this, multiple stakeholders must respond to this call for action. Firstly, local governments play a crucial role in offering public spaces, providing funding, and supplying cooking materials for the demonstrations. And second, public health bodies can contribute by helping in the development of educational materials to enhance the messaging around healthy and sustainable cooking. Meanwhile, food influencers and youth leaders can take the lead in promoting these events using their online platforms. Hopefully, their influence can help show that healthy, sustainable cooking is both easy and accessible to everyone. In terms of policy, we urge the government to consider providing subsidies to support similar activities in the future, as well as offering incentives for businesses and partners to partner with these efforts. In the long run, activities focusing on nutrition education and eating habits can be integrated into school curricula, ensuring a future with a more health-conscious mindset. And finally, the third focus of our program is to provide higher access and affordability of foods to ensure food security. As has been previously mentioned, food insecurity is a serious public health concern, and therefore, ensuring that everyone can access nutritious food is a critical step towards building a more resilient food system in the future. As a short-term solution, educational institutions can collaborate with food banks to reduce food waste starting from their own canteens, where the surplus food can then be redistributed to those in need. And to organize such partnerships, education authorities should work closely with the governments and NGOs. Meanwhile, supermarkets and restaurants can also contribute by donating unsold yet safe to consume food. And additionally, public health organizations can assist in managing the logistics of food distribution and ensuring that the nutritional needs of the community are well met. It is to note that the government must carefully consider creating regulations that ensure food safety and quality at every stage of the food bank distribution process. And for the long-term solution, we propose implementing workshops on hydroponic farming and edible landscaping, encouraging individuals to grow their own food at home. By incorporating edible plants into home decor and community spaces, families can improve their access to fresh produce without relying solely on external sources. The workshop can be conducted in residential communities and schools where resources such as seeds, hydroponic kits, and training materials, along with sufficient fundings to support facilitators and the local farmers, will be needed. Additionally, partnerships must be done between educational institutions, government, farmers, and communities to arrange the workshop. Youths can also play an instrumental role in participating in these initiatives to foster community involvement. The government should also consider developing policies that support urban farming by offering grants or subsidies for sustainable food production. Additionally, integrating hydroponic education into school curriculum can also help foster an eco-friendly mindset in future generations. And to sum things up, our YES program centers on three main pillars. Firstly, is to raise awareness about health, nutrition, and food security, promote the use of local ingredients to create high-quality, nutritious meals, and ensuring food security through food banks, hydroponic farming, and edible landscaping workshops. Together, we can transform our communities, empower individuals, and build a resilient food system that benefits everyone. Remember, yes, your efforts can make a difference. We need you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Vanessa and Graciela. We say yes to yes. Okay, so can we give a hand to our 5 excellent teams of youth speakers? So finally, they are done with their speeches, with their dialogues. But as we all know, now we can still communicate with them, connect with them through our Q&A. So now they've offered us a healthy plate already. Although we haven't had our lunch yet, they have already given us, when we say healthy plate, a healthy 5-course meal, okay, all our main meal. So they are all excellent speakers. So while digesting and contemplating on the speeches that we have heard a while ago, let me read to you the guidelines for the open forum. So due to the time constraints, we only have a total of 30 minutes to have our conversation here in this forum. So here's the guidelines. The audience are encouraged to ask questions and or share comments or opinions orally using the microphone or posting them in the chat box with the format name, institution, question for whom, and the question. So priority shall be given to those who will put up a raised hand to ask a question and or to share an opinion. So the format is already, I think, in the chat box. So for the audience who will ask questions using the Zoom mic, please identify yourself, your institution and country, as well as specify the youth speaker to whom you address your question. The same procedure applies for those who would share their opinion or comments. The organizing team will compile all the questions and opinions posted in our chat box, and we will choose which questions are worth asking the youth speakers or opinions worth knowing by the general audience. So because of the time constraints, we all know that all the questions are worth asking, but we will just pick some. So in the interest of time, an audience will only be given one chance to ask a question or share his or her opinion, comment, to give opportunities for others to participate in the discussion. So when sharing opinions, he or she is requested to convey it in a concise manner within less than a minute. For questions directed to all speakers, I, as a moderator, will choose who among the speakers can answer the questions, giving the priority to those who have not been asked. So the youth speakers are allotted a maximum of 1 minute to answer the question. Are you all ready to have the open forum to converse with our 5 teams of youth speakers? Yes? Kindly react or raise your hand if you want to ask questions personally. Do we have a raised hand there? None yet? Okay, well, wait. Yes. Okay, so we have here the first question or comment or opinion from Ade Werad Yani. Ade, if you can open your mic, state your name as well as your institution.
Yeah, thank you very much for Dr. Irma. Yeah, it is very interesting. Yeah, all the speakers. I have a specific questions. My name is Ade. I'm from Senior Rec 1. I have questions addressed to the I3L team, Graciela and also Vanessa. My questions is in the YES program, which I find very interesting, you propose 3 main pillars, raising awareness, demonstration, and providing access. While implementing all the 3 pillars will be ideal for achieving the optimal result, but if resources are limited, which pillars that you will prioritize and why?
Anyone from I3L? Thank you, Dr. Ade.
Hey, allow me to answer. First of all, thank you, Dr. Ade, for giving your inputs and also giving the question. So in our opinion, I think were there to be very limited amount of resources, we would prioritize to provide the higher access and affordability of foods as the means to increase the food security first. Why? Because the other 2 programs, which is like raising awareness and demonstration, may have not so much of a direct effect. Meanwhile, the giving more access and affordability and availability of foods would produce a more direct effects, while the other 2 programs might have an effect in the longer term, but we might have to prioritize the short-term ones and directly help those who are in need. Maybe my partner Grace would like to add. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sasa, for the answer. I would probably also like to add that aside from what Sasa has mentioned before, maybe we can also focus on doing the programs that do not require any like a big amount of financial sources. For instance, like social media campaign, we can do it like online via online sources, and yeah, we can do that alongside with our effort to ensure food security. So we can do multiple multiple actions simultaneously. I think that's also feasible. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vanessa and Rochella. So any more questions from the audience? And open your mic. So prioritization on resources. So that's our key takeaway for the first question. Do we have questions possible in the chat box? Maybe we can flash. Okay, so we have also from Indonesia, SOS Indonesia, Antia. So let's give the floor to the participant.
Yes, hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for the chance that given to me. I'm from Scholars of Switzerland, Indonesia. My name is Adnia. I would like to ask to Law Tropical and Public Health Institute. And then I'm interested on plant-based meal that you mentioned on your presentation. And I would like to ask, in your opinion, what is your ideas to encourage youth or the teenager to eat more plants, while most of them nowadays more into meat and fast food? Thank you.
So thank you so much for your question. As my opinions, let me show you explain a bit for nowadays in Laos PDR. Use mostly eat fast foods as you mentioned. For my opinion to gather the youth to eat the plant, I think the first thing is to start from the school. At least that they mostly have the gardening at the school, and our education is support to be add in this one. And other thing like for example, like the practicing of the skill, like for example, when they have the gardening already, at least they must have the lesson and the practicing for the youth to practice their skill of this one. And yeah, and maybe my colleague will answer and then add some point of this. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, that's the important question because nowadays youth in Laos are prefer not plant-based or vegetable and fruits as the previous generation like their parents. I did a research in Laos and it seems like why our local food contain a lot of vegetable and fruits, they preferred those unhealthy foods. So I think as my colleague mentioned that in school, it's important that to make it available at the school. Also, I think there should be the innovative way to make those plant-based food more preferable for the youth, like in terms of taste and the look, so that to encourage them to consume them more. Also, raising awareness is also important of the importance of how plant-based food can help can improve their health and also the environmental health. I hope that answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hongkam and Pedative, and thank you, Miss Antia, for the question. Okay, so the problem is feeding the youth, and what is are the recommendations of our two youth speakers. Okay, so do we still have other questions from the audience? Or can we flash the PowerPoint for some of the questions via chat box? Okay, while waiting for the PowerPoint, maybe we can still think some questions or opinions for our speakers. So this is for Hannah and Veronica. So the question is, education is mentioned as a critical component in promoting sustainable eating. How can schools and communities incorporate education on traditional and sustainable food practices? Ms. Hannah and Veronica?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, you're right. Educational is we think that school and community center should integrate sustainable eating and traditional food education into their curricula. Students should be taught not only about nutrition, but also environment and cultural importance of the food they consume. Then in Solo, in our school, we also make some activity with traditional food. We eat together and it implemented with our government in free nutrition meals, or we can say MBG, makan gratis, in Solo a few days ago. Something like that. Maybe Veronica want to add.
Okay, thank you. I want to add some answer. So beside MBK, we have monitoring from, we call it Dinas Makanan, Dinas Ketahanan Pangan. So it's like FAO in nation. It's like FAO, but it's in local in Solo, like that. And they always monitor us at least 3 in a month to make sure that student in SMP Negeri 3 or Junior High School 3 Surakarta, it's something nutritious and healthy, like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah and Veronica. So I think we still have other questions from the chat box. Can we flash the PowerPoint, please? So this is for Farah and Ninja. How long does it take to conduct a food audit? What resources are needed and who should do it? So very interesting question because you've seen, no? You've shown us how you did your audit in your school. So now here's a question for you, Farah and Ninja.
Okay, thank you for the question. So, how long does it take to conducting food waste audit? Is about 1 month, a week for 1 day for conducting focus group discussion, and then 1 week for conducting sharing the questionnaire to the student, to all of the student in our school, and then 1 week for about 2 until 3 weeks for analyzing the data from the questionnaire. So what so the resources that we need is first of all the teacher, and then the school kitchen, crew school kitchen. So I going to the kitchen more often to ask whether the food is more is going to waste, and the percentage of the food waste between every meal. And then I'm also we need some online resources like Google Form to sharing the questionnaire. I think it's the resources is okay. Nindya will add the answer.
Yeah, so we also combine the participants, not only from high school students, but we also conduct it from junior high school, since our school is range from the age of 11 until 8.
Okay, so thank you, Farah and Nija. I think we have like related question here, or like follow-up question from Umar Pamphlet. Okay, so we have here this question. So as of youth participatory approach, sometimes adults have hard time in accepting the active participation of youth. Do you face similar challenges, Ninja and Farah?
Okay, so I will be answering the first question. So the yes, since the kitchen in our school is not only providing the food not only for the students but also for the teachers as well. Yes, they do face similar changes. We do face similar changes because the adults is not accepting the Western food, since the children are more likely to eat the Western food. The adults are more likely to eat the traditional food. So that is the differences between how to cook by the kitchen, and how do we cope it, since we're asking the head of our kitchen how are they going to cope it. Sometimes they cook different food. Like for the teachers, they cook the traditional Indonesian food, and then for the students, they cook the Western food. And that is they are trying to reduce the food waste, and that is how they cook. And my partner Farah will add for the answer.
Okay, for the second question, children and adolescents sometimes prefer fried food. Do you consider this? Yes, my students is prefer fried food than steam or steam fried food, because yeah, like children do, they are when I see the result of the preferences sensory from my student, they are more enjoy with creamy and umami taste than sweet or spicy. So yeah, my students is more prefer with fried food, since fried food leading to umami taste.
Okay, thank you very much, Farah and Ninja, for sharing your experiences in food audit or food waste audit. Okay, so do we still have other questions there? Or comments, opinions from the speeches that we've heard from our speakers? For Hong Kong and Federative, so what do you think are the strategic and effective ways for the youth to help establish a good working relationship between schools and community? to promote sustainable gardening and consumption. So strategies, effective strategies, Hongkam and Tidativ.
Okay, thank you for the question. For my opinion, the important thing to establish a good working relationship between school and community to promote the sustainable gardening and consumption. First of all is the policy of the school, like to be aware of the fast food, for example, and then encourage the student, for example, provide them the education related to the healthier, and after that promote them, like help them to figure out like the healthier food, which is the what else, like policy, like be aware not bring the fast food to sell in the school, and then promote the gatherings, how like how can I say, like promote to I don't know, education the student to start the gardening, and continue with the practicing practicing the skill how to cook for themselves, something like that. And maybe, yeah, that will help me to answer this question. Thank you.
So the question, from what I understand, is that how youth can establish a good relationship between schools and communities. So yes, first of all, I think the schools can be the main body to help supporting the students. And also, okay, for example, in Laos, the problem with the school is that they lack of guidance in creating policy that support school gardening. Or even though there's the policy there the constraint in the budget. So it's I think it's the school themselves that should have the initiative and also support the students and encourage them and promote them in and involving in the in like establishing the gardening at the schools. And also the youth themselves can also support that part, because like in Laos, in suburban region, for example, some of them have garden at home. I think it's important that the school can also encourage them and create activities for them to bring their food from the garden to school and cooking together, and in that way they can support the youth. Yes, thank you for the question.
Thank you very much. So I think from the answers of our participants, the school also plays an important role to help the youth. Okay, so with this, we also want to call Dr. Jess Fernandez for, is it a question, sir, or an opinion or comment? Sir Jess?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Irma. I just want to ask the question for our Malaysian team from IMU University. Yes, because you advocated to have or to promote regenerative agriculture. In Southeast Asia, in most countries in Southeast Asia, the enrollment in agriculture is declining. And so if you are advocating regenerative agriculture, do you think how can our countries really promote agriculture as a choice, a degree of choice among the youth, so that we can continue more sustainable production and also practice regenerative agriculture? Or do you think The practice of regenerative agriculture doesn't need to have a degree, and you can also practice it anytime so that you can contribute to a sustainable food system. So that's my question to our team from Malaysia.
Claire. And
so thank you, sir, for your questions. I think my opinions on this is the agriculture can be slightly less stratified, and we can put it as self-gardening as the first step for then later when the awareness has been increased, then we can later put it together as agriculture. But I feel you're just growing few vegetables in your garden, starting from the personal level or our individual level, we can first create the awareness, and then slowly when the awareness has been created on planting vegetables and fruits in your own garden, I think the urge of doing agriculture is going to come automatically.
what about Claire? Any addition?
All right, so to add on what my partner has mentioned, thank you for the question. So it's true that while regenerative agriculture is a vital approach, but in Southeast Asia, it's been somewhat slow due to like a variety of factors such as conventional farming systems, lack of awareness, and economic pressures that make it difficult for the farmers to transition. So for the movement to grow, in my opinion, I think it's important that more young people get involved, because youth are the key to driving the change toward more sustainable practices, because the young can bring in more fresh ideas and innovative technologies, like for the passion for our environment. And for example, we can be participating in community-based farming projects, so we can learn about the regenerative methods through these projects and advocate for policy changes. And the youth can also indeed contribute to a larger sustainable food system through this. And maybe for practicing the regenerative agriculture, even on a small scale, it can have significant long-term benefits for the soil health, the biodiversity, and the food security. And over time, maybe these practices can contribute to sustainable food systems, and that can not only produce the healthier foods, but also combat the climate changes, maybe by sequestering the carbon and reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. So even partial adoption of these practices can help to build the resilience in our agricultural systems. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Claire and Siley. Those are really good ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire and Siley. Do we have more questions or last one? No more? Going once, going twice? Okay, so we have here last question for Vanessa and Graciela. So your proposed program looks comprehensive. What is your plan or strategies to generate the funds needed to implement it? Vanessa and Grace.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the question. I will try to answer it first. So actually, the YES program that we proposed earlier will actually be conducted through multi-sectoral collaboration. And so we will propose to request for grants from our partnerships with the government and public health bodies who focus specifically in our focus, which is like sustainable agriculture, health and food security, and also collaborating with non-governmental organizations that also share the same goals and focus with us, and may also be interested in like co-developing our YES effort, as well as collaborating with educational institutions and communities. Maybe my partner, Sasam, would like to add.
Okay, thank you, Grace. So to add, I think it is also possible for us to collaborate with larger industries like the fast-moving consumer goods, FMCGs, and then we could collaborate with them as they're part of their corporate social responsibility CSR programs so that they can help us and also help the society. In addition, I think several of our programs do not require a lot of funds to conduct, like the Raising Awareness program. It doesn't really require a lot of funding, like the social media campaigns. And I think some of like the socialization done also do not require a large amount of funds, so that it is not so much of an issue. Okay, I hope that answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vanessa and Grace. I think there's no more question. Okay, so with those questions, with those conversations, I know that somehow the burning ideas or views that you want to convey to your to the youth or to your organizations may be may make, or it may be challenging, but we can still make it, or we can still convey it to our colleagues or our co-youths, co-leaders in our own organization. Okay, so if I may borrow the trend word now for our youth, no, your conversations or the conversations we have this morning is very mindful, no, very informative also. So what we have today is very inspiring, and the exchange of ideas as well as the views pertaining to healthy plate as well as sustainable eating or sustainable dining could even more somehow encourage us to initiate specific practices, specific projects in our own organization. So for us who were audience here, the young at heart as well as the older youth, we agree, and maybe this is now the right time to contemplate our roles also, not just you as the youth, in looking into ways, in looking into how the activities that we are doing now could contribute to sustainable eating. And the rest would be coming from, I think, the help of other stakeholders in our own countries or organization. So what are the key words that we gain from the speeches, dialogues, and conversations that we have this morning is that connection, collaborate, as well as to educate. So this is the first Southeast Asian Forum, I could say a one for the books, no, event. So we are hoping that this would not be the last one. There could be like second, third, and so on, to give us enough platform, especially to the youth, to speak, to be heard, and to hear also other youth to speak on their different parts of the Southeast Asia as well as the different part of the world. So with that, I will now give the stage or the virtual stage to Prof. Ann Cayetano. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Irma. And once again, congratulations to our youth speakers. Can we give them all a round of applause? Again, congratulations. All right. So at this point, I would like to invite our distinguished guests and organizers to the virtual stage for the awarding of certificates of appreciation and plaques of appreciation to our youth speakers. First, may we invite on virtual stage the Deputy Director of Program Simeyorec Fon, Dr. Jess Fernandez, to award the certificate and plaque of appreciation to Claire and Silly on behalf of Dr. Hercotanta. Right, let me read the citation. This certificate is awarded to Claire Ong Yan Wei and Sile Viren Vartak in recognition of their outstanding ideas shared during their speech at Youth Forum. Their insightful perspective and passion have not only inspired their peers, but have also sparked important conversations within our community. Dr. Jess, please award the plaque of appreciation to Claire and Sile. Let's give them a big round of applause. Please pause briefly for a photo opportunity. Claire and Silly. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. And again, congratulations. Thank you, Dr. Jess. And next, may we invite to the virtual stage Dr. Lizelle Atienza, Director of UP Los Baños, to award the plaque to Farah and Nilia. Let me read the citation. This certificate is awarded to Ms. Farah Mutia Rahman and Media Zafira in recognition of their outstanding ideas shared during their speech at Youth Forum. Dr. Lizelle, please present the plaque of appreciation to Farah and India. Let's give them a big round of applause and please pause for a while for a photo. Congratulations, Farah and India. Thank you very much, Dr. Lizelle. For our third speakers, may we invite on virtual stage Dr. Inez Wardani to award the certificate and plaque of appreciation to Hannah and Veronica. Right? Let me read the citation. This certificate is awarded to Hannah Hapsari and Veronica Amalia in recognition of their outstanding ideas shared during their speech at Youth Forum. Their insightful perspective and passion have not only inspired their peers but have also sparked important conversations within our community. Dr. Inez, can you please present the plaque of appreciation to Farah and Nindya? All right, and please pause for a while for a photo. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. And congratulations once again, Farah and Nindya. Thank you very much, Dr. Inez. Next, may we invite on virtual stage Dr. Mary Chong to award the certificate and plaque of appreciation to Hong Kam Saya Wong and Tida Deb Kona Wong. Let me read the citation. This certificate is awarded to Hong Kam and Tida Deb in recognition of their outstanding ideas shared during their speech at Youth Forum. Dr. Mary Chong, please present the plaque of appreciation to Hong Kam and Tida Deb. Let's give them a round of applause. And please pause for a while for a photo session. 1, 2, 3. Again, congratulations, Hong Kam and Tita Deb. Thank you very much, Dr. Chong. And then last but not the least, may we invite on virtual stage Dr. Indria Laras Prasmethi to award the certificate and plaque of appreciation to Vanessa and Graciela on behalf of Dr. Duina Stiti. Let me read the citation while Dr. Laras is opening her camera. So this certificate is awarded to Vanessa and Graciela Virginia Erwantojo in recognition of their outstanding ideas shared during their speech at Youth Forum. Their insightful perspective and passion have not only inspired their peers, but have also sparked important conversations within their community. Right. Dr. Laras, please present the plaque of appreciation to Vanessa and Graciela. Thank you, Dr. Laras. Let's give them a round of applause. So again, congratulations, Vanessa and Graciela. Thank you, Dr. Laras. And congratulations again to all our 5 teams. May we call again on the virtual stage all our youth speakers and award presenters for a photo session. Please reopen your cameras and wait to be highlighted by our technical team. So may we call again Dr. Jess, Dr. Lizelle, Dr. Inez, Dr. Mary Chong, and Dr. Laras, as well as our 5 youth team speakers. And of course, our moderator, Dr. Irma Dana. All right. So let's smile. Smile like there's no tomorrow. 1, 2, 3. All right. So thank you so much. And congratulations again to our youth speakers. All right. So as we wrap up, let us invite representatives from the co-organizers, the UPLB and the Asian Youth Forum. Let's start with a short message from the Director of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Dr. Lizelle Atienza.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Ann Cayetano. So good day, everyone, especially to our young people in the Zoom room today. So let me tell you that you are incredible agents of change. You are all energetic, creative, dynamic, and passionate beings. Through your admirable traits, you have the power to influence policies, inspire society, and push for healthy eating and sustainability. To our delegates today, especially our youth presenters, congratulations. You are all awesome and inspiring. So I'd like to congratulate as well Sumeo RefCon for taking the initiative to create a platform where our Southeast Asian youth can showcase their amazing advocacies on healthy and sustainable eating, as well as innovative solutions to the health and nutrition challenges faced by the world today. It's very inspiring to see how youth from Southeast Asia come together to create meaningful impact. So, from the Institute of Human Nutrition and Food at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, congratulations. And thank you so much for allowing us or inviting us to be a co-organizer of this momentous event. We look forward to the active participation of more youth from Southeast Asia in the Simeo RefCon's Youth Forum on Food and Nutrition in the coming years. Once again, congratulations everyone and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lizelle. And now, can we also hear a short message from the Asian Youth Forum representative, Dr. Inez?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to say several words. So first of all, on behalf of ASEAN Youth Forum, I would like to say thank you so much for Simorek Fund for inviting us to be the partner of this forum. If you might not know, ASEAN Youth Forum is a movement for young people to voice out concerns and strategize to make a better ASEAN, particularly focusing on human rights issue. That's why when we were asked to be partnered to support this event, we were very happy and delighted to be on board. I would like to also congratulate to the youth speakers who have been selected to present. I heard several presentations and I was inspired by it. And there is a story from youth that kind of hit me, like when she said that she went to the supermarket and saw parents giving unhealthy foods for their child. As a new mom, I kind of relate to that. And as a young people as well, I kind of learned that we as young people has to be knowledgeable and always increase our knowledge to be, more aware of what we eat to create like a better future for our kids and for future generation and also for ourselves. And so this event personally has inspired me to be better and to apply sustainable eating for myself. So I hope everyone who listened to the inspiring speakers can get the knowledge and also can apply it in your daily life or in your day-to-day activities in the future. So yes, thank you and congratulations for everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Inez. And once again, thank you very much, Dr. Lizelle and Dr. Inez, for your support to this program. And finally, we are honored to have Dr. Jess C. Fernandez, the Deputy Director of Program at Simeo RecFund, to deliver the closing remarks. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Dr. Jess.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Anna. It's my privilege to have the closing remarks for this initial staging of our Southeast Asian Youth Forum on Food and Nutrition. I believe everyone has heard this quotation that says, "The future belongs to those who dare to dream beyond boundaries." And I think our youth speakers this morning exemplify this kind of quotation because they have given inspiring ideas on how to promote healthier plates, healthier future, and the youth leading the sustainable eating in our region. We believe also that with determination and passion, the youth can move mountains. And this is also the way that we would like to be contributing to this kind of movement for RecFon to initiate this kind of forum. I subscribe to the idea of Dr. Nathan. I think this is the message, ultimate message of this forum, that we should strengthen people connection rather than product connection on the way we consume food. Because through connection, through collaboration and unity, we can really ensure a more sustainable food system in our region. And I think most of the speeches given by our youth speakers elucidated on this dictum from Dr. Nathan, but there are a lot more to do. And this is one thing that I would like to remind our youth speakers this morning, and also the audience that we have in this Zoom, that may you always have this kind of passion to follow the ideas that you are advocating and to have the wisdom to make them a reality. I think making a speech is one thing, but making things happen is another thing. And we hope to see this impact in the field, in your communities, that you will continue on what you have advocated in this forum. And as we said, your speeches, hopefully, we would like to produce a monograph so we can distribute them to those who have not attended this forum and also be inspired by the ideas that you have presented. At this time, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of our director and the rest of the Senior RecFon family to thank our co-organizers, the Institute of Food and Nutrition of the College of Human Ecology of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and also the Youth Forum Network or Secretariat here in Indonesia for being our partner and making things come true. I would also like to really appreciate the dynamic emceeing of Dr. Anna and also the moderating skills of Dr. Irma that make all this event lively and also exciting to most of us. So once again, I really encourage all the youth to keep on dreaming and also making that dream come true for a better, sustainable future that we have in this region. Thank you very much. And it's also my authority on behalf of our director to officially close this first Southeast Asian Youth Forum on Food and Nutrition. Once again, congratulations to all of us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jess. And sabi nga, according to Dr. Jess, let's continue to have passion, let's seek more wisdom, and let's do more advocacies for sustainable eating. Thank you very much. And that ends our session. So just a few reminders for our participants. Do not forget to fill out the attendance and evaluation forms to get an e-certificate. So the link and the QR code will be flashed on the screen and are also now found in the Zoom chat box. So again, please do not forget to answer both the evaluation and the attendance forms. So once again, thank you very much on behalf of the organizers, the CMAYO RecFon and its co-organizers, the ASEAN Youth Forum and the IHNF UPLB. Thank you very much for being with us and staying with us today. So your contributions and enthusiasm made this event a success. We look forward to seeing how you as youth will continue to lead the way in sustainable eating. So that's it. And thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.
Recording stopped.
Sustainable Development Goal 2. This is because food insecurity and malnutrition, especially in Southeast Asia, are still at unacceptable levels occurring across age groups, socioeconomic classes, and gender, within households and communities, resulting in different types of morbidity and mortality. New challenges and trends in economy, environment, demographics, geopolitical structures, food and digital technologies, among others, continue to emerge, which complicate the